Today we're touring H.B. Parsons Fish Hatchery. This is one of their boats. It's located behind Oklahoma City Lake Hefner Dam. They have all their boats out, so I'm filming them before we get started. This one allows them to do electronic fish surveys. This is really cool. It's got electronic shockers.
Here, don't. Those are jellyfish here, don't touch them.
Here, that's the step you can get up on there and look. Don't touch though. Get up on there. Hey, see? You see in there? Look over here. Over here.
Oh, I think this.
Maybe. I don't know.
But most of us don't remember biology class and the anatomy of the fish.
We got our nice food for goodies and everything over here. The most important thing we need you to do is you're going to be tallying up everyone that comes through, keep an account. So you want a kid and adult. Second grade age that
Can you do the anatomy of
try to
it?
get people to sign up for newsletters for cards. John, Max, Taylor, somewhere around here.
Aquatic food web. The sun, snails, aquatic plants.
Alright. Yeah, nice little group. Just gotta. Alright, this guy likes to Nigerian research in the nation. We're the only city that has its own fish hatchery in the state, and one of very, very few nationwide. Right? We not only have H.B. Parsons Fish Hatchery, we monitor 7,230 acres of fishable water. We put on youth education and outreach programs like Hooked on Fishing and, of course, open houses. We also monitor deer population at Martin Nature Park and oversee duck hunting in the city. All right? So when most people think about fisheries management, a lot of guys only focus on, I think we're talking about, the sports fish, like your walleye, your bass, your hybrid striped bass. However, what we do here is actually we focus on almost all of it. So we go from a top down and a bottom up mythology, and we'll go over kind of all those things. At the hatchery, we raise hybrid sunfish, walleye, channel cat, and hybrid striped bass. Alright, we get So first thing most people want to go through is we'll go over the boats. What we gotta do? And we're doing our ponds. So it's not going to be very easy to put the predator in a 5-acre pond. So we'll take out grading. Some of the tasks we do with this one is bathymetrics. We'll go out and we'll measure the pond bottoms, get us a map with that, or install aeration or some kind of habitat. For overholster, we'll use this when we're doing pond profile or lake profiles, where we're actually measuring the water quality all the way from the surface all the way to the bottom. We'll use our gill nets to monitor fish populations, so on and so forth. One of the fun boats that fishing boat. All right. So as you can guess, boat. We got a nice big generator here with the shock box that allows us to control how many pulses per second of electricity that we're putting into the water. Any questions so far?
About how many fish will this hold?
So I got 300 gallons, and typically for transport we do 300 pounds. It's a pound per gallon. So long distances, longer than that, we might have to cut it down, and it really depends also on temperature.
What time of year do y'all do the walleye or stripers? Or
Right
hybrids?
now we're doing the walleye. They are going to, we got them last week. We'll keep them for about a month. And then once they get to about an inch to an inch and a half, we will drain that pond, put them in there, take them right over to Hefner and release them. But as you can guess, this is a kind of a small box, and we got some big ponds. So when we're dealing with the catfish and the sunfish, we can't put all of them in there. So that's why we use something, the kettles. So we will actually put the fish in the kettles and then kind of piecemeal them out, so on and so forth. So these are our kettles. And kettles are pretty easy to work with. As you can see, we have clean fresh water coming in at one end, and that's pushing all the stuff down to the standpipe. That's how we get flush the system, so we're not having to constantly clean out the tanks and everything else. But being a hatchery, you can see how we have quite a wide assortment of sizes of our fish, and we don't want to just stock small ones and everything else, and let the small ones grow. So we will use something called a fish grater. You guys know you can grate fish? Oh, now you do. Okay, so it's pretty simple. Got this nice little heavy duty lever. I move the lever and I can dictate what size of fish that will keep. The small ones actually go through. So to demonstrate, put that right there. Get a net full of fish, drop them in the water, so you can see all the different sizes. And as I slowly open, buddy. Yeah, I got it right here. You want to touch it? No. So you feel that slime layer on them? So that actually layer of slime helps protect them from getting sick, but it also reduces friction in the water to help them swim. Right? So, a little bit of anatomy, how about that? So of course, hey, there's some air. Alright. So of course you get their mouth. Right here, between the mouth and the eye, where their nostrils are. Fish do smell. Alright. Your eyes. This bony plate right here is called the operculum. It actually helps facilitate their breathing, but it also protects their gills, those red filaments there. If you look deep in the mouth, you'll see these white filaments going in the opposite direction. Those are their gill rakers. Those gill rakers actually protect their gills and also help push their food into their gullet. All right? So one thing you'll find out about us biologists, we're not clever when it comes to naming things. So we have its spiny dorsal fin and its soft dorsal fin. Can you guess why we call one spiny and one soft? Any guesses? One spiny and the other one soft. Alright? Then you have your pectoral fins, right here. Your pelvic fins, your vent fin, and then your caudal fin. All right. Now, what do you guys think this section of the fish right here that connects the caudal fin to the main body? It's part of the tail, but it's got a very specific name. It's called its caudal peduncle. The fish's peduncadunk. All right. There we go. Thank you, buddy. All right. So, 9 inches. Maybe put them in this. So we'll have all these petals full. And we do not want to spread that to other bodies of water. So each time we treat the water, tilt, make sure the zebra mussels die, put the fish in, and then we can transport them over. Zebra mussels are an invasive species that actually clog up pipes and actually cause your water. And it's pretty cool to get those things real quick. What you got, buddy? Those are part of our dissection, so I'll talk to you that in a bit, yeah? So, we got that, a little high-tech. One of our more high-tech things, though, is this bad boy right here. Very expensive. Batteries cost an arm and a leg. Alright? It's our Secchi disc. This is how we measure water clarity. So as you can see, high-tech disc right here with some high-tech tank. Drop it right down the water, and then we can see, we just go down until we can't see it, bring it right back until we barely can get an idea. That actually allows us, when we're doing the pond profiles, so that we can measure the very top all the way down to the bottom of our reservoirs like Draper, Hefner, and Overland. Those give us a nice profile to see what the DOs and temperatures are doing at depth. Before we had this, if we wanted to measure them, we would have to use something called a Van Buren. Now, as you can see, it's directed. So what we'll do is we will feed our phytoplankton with like alfalfa or a liquid fertilizer. And they will in turn feed our zooplankton, which then feed our walleye and all our fries. But we wanted to check to see what our zooplankton counts are. So we will use this, drop it into the water, get to a certain depth, pull it back, and put it into a jar. Zooplankton, these guys. So and there's a bunch of copepods, daphne, and rotifers. This is what our fry are eating. I'll take a sample, fill it down and dye it, so they'll all be right in there. And then I'll take 1 milliliter of that, and I'll go through and I'll count all the guys. So if you guys want to come over and see what I'm looking at, go through and we count all of them. So full day, 6-7 hours to get those counts. Compare those counts. If our count of zooplankton is low, we'll go and fertilize the pond some more. Yeah, exactly. It's the measuring board. So we'll go in, put the fish's face right off of the board, go in, fish's tail, and that gives us our least in millimeters. We can then take that data and compare it to back to our net. Alright.
Sinking, floating, alfalfa.
We will put something nice, stinky or smelly in here. We used to use dog food, old cheese. Now we're using zote soap. Fish love it. The turtles hate it, which makes it easier for us not to have to pick out turtles. And then the nets also smell nice and fresh when we pull them out. All right. Speaking of turtles, Rod doing a bit.
Okay, I'm going to walk you around on a short walk around our pond, just show you a little bit of the actual ponds we raise fish in. This obviously is a fish pond. We call it a fish pond because it's a pond that raises fish. Scientists are good at naming stuff. As you can see, it is full of algae. Most people think that's gross. Most people don't like that algae. I love this algae because this algae makes my job so much easier. Notice how clear our water is. Notice how clean our water is. That's because we have so much algae. If you get rid of the algae, our water would be just as gross as every other pond in Oklahoma. So, I like having this algae here because it makes my job way easier. Also makes it a lot healthier for baby fish, and it provides a lot of little tiny bugs, amphipods, copepods, isopods, all of which feed baby fish. I like feeding baby fish, that's my job. So I like having the algae. Everybody understand?
Yeah.
Okay, great. If you look in there, you might be able to find some small pits where it'll be dug out and kind of exposed. Those little pits will be where sunfish are breeding. It's very early in the breeding season for sunfish, but they have started. So you might see a pit in there. I think there's one right there. Right there, there's a little tiny sandy spot. Right there, in all that algae, there's a little tiny sandy spot. That is a nest that our sunfish have dug. And when I walked up here, I don't know if you saw it, but there's a sunfish right there that's guarding it. There's actually another pit over there. And looks like there's a third one over there too. Sunfish are pretty good parents. They're not the best in the world, but they're pretty good. They will build a little nest for their eggs. They'll have the female lay eggs right there. The female will sit right on top of that nest and baby guard it. And the male will usually be a foot or two away, kind of hanging out nearby, making sure everything's safe. So we do have quite a few pits later in the summer, or like, well, early summer, I guess, later in the year, early summer. You'll actually have so many pits in this pond that it'll look like honeycomb. There'll be so many nests because all of our sunfish will be breeding. Like I said, this is pretty early in the breeding season for them, but they have just started. So yeah, you see, there's a female right on this nest right here too. You guys might not be able to see it from that far away, but yeah, she's right there. Oh, there's actually two. Yeah, they're going. So that's really good for us. They like this part of the pond because it's shallow. Our ponds are actually scaled, so they get deeper as you go further that way. They're nice and shallow up here. So the warmest water is going to be on this side because it's the shallowest water. It gets all that sunlight. It warms up the best during the day. All that warm water helps those eggs hatch faster, helps those babies grow faster. It also increases the metabolism of the fish, which is fine because there's so much algae here with so much bugs and stuff in it. Those fish can find food, not a problem. We are going to feed some of the fish though. So if you follow me, we'll walk over to the deep end. Guppy grass basically does the exact same thing, except it's a higher order stem plant. So it grows a little bit slower. The algae comes in first, grows, blooms. The algae will eventually peter out. The guppy grass will grow in, bloom, get really big. It'll eventually peter out. And then you'll end up with another type of plant called a hornwort. Hornwort's very common in Oklahoma. You see it pretty much everywhere. It's the stuff that gets stuck on your boats. That stuff will grow in once the guppy grass is done. Long term, you should get other plants growing in after that. Things like cypress trees, Vallisneria, which is like a grass, like eelgrass, anything like bacopa or any of those kind of plants. Stuff we don't actually see that often in Oklahoma, but if you leave a pond for long enough, that will grow in and dominate. Once those plants dominate, you won't get the algae spikes anymore and the pond will stay clean. That's the goal. All right. In another month or two, this pond will be full of it, which again is totally fine. I'm okay with that. That cleans my water. I like plants in my water quite a bit. A lot of fishermen aren't the biggest fans of plants. I like it a lot. It cleans my water. It increases reproductive success. It feeds my fish, and it also reduces and removes things like ammonia, nitrates, any kind of toxin or excess nutrients that we don't want to deal with. You guys saw inside, those were hybrid sunfish. Those came out of pond 6, which is way at the end. This is pond number 1. We actually number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Scientists are good at naming stuff. We have 6 ponds. They have 6 names. Isn't that great? Right now, this one and pond 6 are full of hybrid sunfish. They're mostly bluegill, but there is quite a bit of red ear and green sunfish mixed in there. There's even a little bit of long-ear genetics. Sometimes you find long-ear, red ear hybrids. Pretty cool. But mostly it's like probably 50% pure strain bluegill at this point. This one's been up for 4 years. The other one's been up for 6. So as the ponds exist for longer and longer and longer, the sunfish strains tend to push more toward bluegill. You'll get more and more and more just regular bluegill as the bluegill just dominate the pond, which is fine. I'm okay with that. But we are going to probably early next year, we're gonna actually drain this one down, drain out pond 6. We're gonna move all of them to pond 5. We're gonna shuffle them all up so the genetics get mixed up so that they're not all inbred. Nobody likes inbred fish. So again, that's gonna come later next year or early next year. And we'll move into pond 5, we'll drain these down. Once we drain them down, we'll leave them fallow, which is like what's going on in the pond behind you. Pond 2 right there is laying fallow. So we just let the grass grow in. We let the native wild plants grow in, which is really great for butterflies, but also it helps us because that grass locks the soil down, stops it from getting so muddy. And it also removes a little bit of nutrients when it grows in. So that's good too. Typically we'll leave a pond to lay fallow for 3 months, 4 months, maybe even 6 if it's going too long. These ponds will probably leave for about a year because they've been up for years and they have a lot of mud piled up in them. So when we drain them, we'll let them sit for quite a while. So if you're driving by on this road here and you see this pond empty, that's okay, that's planned, that's what we're doing. We will fill this pond 2 up later this year, probably 2 or 3 months from now. We'll fill it up, put catfish in there. And the ponds on the other side of that are full of walleye right now, baby walleye. Those walleye are destined for Lake Hefner. We've got 200,000 of them. Survival rate on them is, so we're expecting about 130 to 160,000 to actually survive and end up in the pond, or in Lake Hefner. That's the idea. Another thing on these fish here, these again are our hybrid sunfish. They're basically domesticated at this point. They've been in this pond for multiple generations, 4, maybe 5 at this point. And they're very, very used to us. They're very, very used to people, and they're very, very used to my voice. They like me, and they like the fact that every time I come over here, I give them a little bit of food. So we'll see if they'll come up. They should. There they are right there. One of the problems with having ponds this way, with earthen ponds, we actually can't monitor the population with any amount of specificity. We don't know exactly how many fish are in this pond. We can give an eyeball estimate. I think there's about 6,000-ish. Pond 6 has a little bit more. We think that one's probably between 8,000 and 10,000-ish. But we don't actually know the exact number of fish because the adults will breed and make their own fish, and those fish will come out of recruitment and join the school with everybody else. And so we kind of have an eyeball or an estimate of how many fish are in here based on how much they eat, how well they eat. Obviously huge schools of fish eat more food. So if they're burning through our food, we know there's a ton of fish in there. This pond doesn't eat quite as well as pond 6. We know there's less in here than there is in pond 6. Give them a little bit more. Yeah, you can see them up there. There they are. They can hear you, they can see you. They can hear me right now, they know my voice. They'll come right up and eat. They're like, oh, that's the guy that brings me fish food. Anybody have any questions?
What's something that affects the survival rate?
So a lot of things affect survival rate. So fish are what we call R-type reproductive strategy, which means they have a ton of babies and they have very little investment in those babies. Sunfish are a little bit better than most fish because they're pretty good parents. They'll actually build a nest, guard the nest, raise the babies for a couple weeks. Some things that can affect it: temperature swings. If it's really cold, or if they breed and then we have a cold snap that lasts for a long time, you'll slow the growth of those fish. The longer they stay in those small stages, the more dangerous it is for them. In the wild, you have survival rate on babies in the wild is about 1 in 10,000, which is really low. But thankfully, they usually make several thousand fish per nest, and they'll spawn several times per year. These sunfish here will spawn 3, maybe 4 times a year. Last year they spawned 4 times because it was warm really late. And they're starting early this year too, so they'll probably spawn 4 times this year as well. And they'll have 3,000-ish babies per run. So with that kind of recruitment, you can expect 1 or 2 of them to survive to adulthood permanently, which you know, it's kind of here. And we have a dog that chases all the birds away. Our survival rate's actually quite a bit bigger. We expect about 1 in 1,000, which sounds really bad, but that's actually really good for R-type reproductive strategy animals. Humans are K-type reproductive. We have 1 baby at a time, and we invest a ton of resources in that baby until they're about 25 or later, if you're me. And so very different investment strategy. Fish don't operate like that. So yeah, temperature is a big deal that affects them. Predation obviously affects them quite a bit. Food availability. One of the problems we've had here in the past, as a hatchery, it's our responsibility to stock all the ponds in Oklahoma City. We actually stock all the ponds that are fishable in Oklahoma City. The state does not do that. We do that. That's my job. So if you're fishing here in Oklahoma City, that's our fish. Pretty much all the fish that are out there, unless they were brought in by birds, were put there by this hatchery at some point, including the bass.